All right, back with part 2 of the review. This time we're going to be going through problem 6, 7, and then 9 and everything after 9. All right, so these next few, these ones are the ones we got to actually do the box method, right? Is if you notice that leading number, or A, is no longer a 1, right? So those are the ones that's going to be extra steps. We got to do the diamond, we got to do the box. All right, so let's get into that. And again, on the test, these types of problems, set something up. If you forget how to do it, 1, you got your notes, it's open note, and 2, set something up, draw the box, put some numbers in there, and you're going to get some partial credit. All right, just don't leave it blank. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to set up the diamond on number 6 right here. So if you remember, what goes up top, what goes right here, is going to be B, 13. And then what goes down in the bottom right here, it is A multiplied by C, A times C. So that's going to be a 30. All right, again, we're going to do that same thing that we usually do. So we're going to look for two numbers. We want to multiply to 30, and we want to add to 13. Notice this time we're not multiplying to C, right? We're not multiplying to 10. We're multiplying to A times C, right? We're multiplying to 3 times 10 this time. All right, so we're multiplying to 30, adding to 13. Nice thing is they're both positive, so we're looking for two positive numbers here. And those numbers are going to be 3 and 10, right? Because they multiply to 30 and add to 13. Okay, so now we can take those numbers and use that to create our box. And if you remember, what goes in the top left is that entire first term right here, that 3r squared. What goes in the bottom right is going to be C. It's going to be that 10. And then what we've got in the top right is going to be in the other two, we use these numbers to fill, right? We're going to use the 3 and the 10. Again, it doesn't matter which box I put which one in. It just matters that those numbers are the right. So I could put the 3 up top. I could put the 10 up top. That doesn't matter. And then don't forget to attach the variable to it, or the letter. So it's going to be a 3r and a 10r. Again, I could have put the 10 up top or the 3 down bottom. That doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer either way. All right. And then again, we're going to do all that greatest common factor stuff that we practiced. That's why this was super important here. All right, so we're going to go column by column. So we're going to look for the greatest common factor right there. 3 and 10, there's no number that goes into both of those, so all we can take out is an r. And then we can come over here, look in our other column. And again, there's nothing in 3 and 10, so it's just a +1, right? And we can't take out an r because that 10 does not have an r on it. All right, let's look at our rows. This top row right here, we can actually take out a 3r, right? Because 3 goes into 3 and 3, and r squared and r, we can take out an r. And then from 10r and 10, looking at this bottom row, we can take out a 10, right? Because 10 goes into 10 and 10. All right, so those are going to be our factors. r plus 1, 3r plus 10. If we want to rewrite it, make it look nice for our final answer, 3r plus 10, r plus 1. And notice the order of these two, it doesn't matter, right? Because they are being multiplied together. Just like 3 times 4 is the same thing as 4 times 3. It doesn't matter what the order is. All right, there's your box method review. Let's do a few more. Number 7 here. All right, same type of deal. We are going to look for, we're going to go ahead and make our diamond. Up top, we've got, we're going to put the B, so a 6. Down at the bottom, it's going to be A times C, so -7. And we're going to look for our numbers. We want to multiply to -7 and add up to 6. All right, so we're multiplying to a negative. Think about what that means, right? The only way I'm going to multiply to a negative is if I got one positive number and then one negative number. All right, so we need one of each. And then we got to add up to 6. All right, so think about what multiplies to 7. There's only one option here, 1 and 7. All right, so the question is, remember, it multiplies to -7, so one of those has to be negative, right? Either the 1 or the 6. I'll go ahead and write them in. It's either the 1 or the 6. The question is, which one do we want to be the negative, right? I'm sorry. It's not 1 and 6. 1 times 6 is 6, not 7. It's 1 and 7. I don't know where I got 6 from. Try that again. 1 times 7, right? And we need to figure out which one's the negative one, right? Is the 1 the negative or is the 7? Well, that gives us the question. Is 1 minus 7 equal to 6 or is 7 minus 1 equal to 6? It's the second one, right? So we want the 1 to be the negative. All right, so those are our numbers. They multiply to negative 7 and they add up to 6. All right, so once you do that, you're going to go to the box method. We're going to go box. Top left is that first term of the whole thing, the original 7x squared. Bottom right is that c, the negative 1, right? 7x squared and the negative 1. And then those two numbers we just found, the negative 1 and the 7, those will fill the other spot. So we got a negative 1x and we got a 7x. We're going to do the same thing. Column by column, row by row. We're going to look for our greatest common factors. All right, so let's look right here. 7 and 1, not much we can do there. So we're going to take out just an x. And then we're going to go for our other column. Again, same thing, nothing we can do. That's just going to be a plus 1, right? Because there's no other number that goes into 1 and 7 besides 1. And since this 1 doesn't have an x, I can't even take out an x. So it's just going to be a plus 1. So like if there's no greatest common factor, just take out a 1. Let's go to our rows. So we got a row right here. 7 and 7, we can take out a 7. So whenever you've got, if you notice, whenever it's the same number, you take out that number. X squared and x, we'll take out an x. And then this bottom row right here in orange, between negative 1 and negative 1, I can take out a negative 1, right? But we can't take out the x because the x, there is no x on this 1, right? So we can't take out an x. All right, so those are our factors. We've got x plus 1 and 7x minus 1. That's your answer. All right, so set up the diamond. Find the numbers that multiply to what we want and add to what we want. That's step 2. And then step 3 is going to be make the box method and get your greatest common factors. And then those greatest common factors will give you the answer. All right, so diamond, do the adding and multiplying thing, and then box method for the greatest common factor. Those are going to be your steps. You can write that down if you want, because again, you can use this on the test. All right. I'm going to say number 9 is actually very, very similar. I'm going to run through this one a little bit faster. It's exact same type of steps. So we've got, let's see what we got. Make our diamond. Up top, we've got the b, so we've got a 7. Down bottom, we've got a times c, so that makes negative 30. And then we want our numbers. We want to figure out what is going to multiply to negative 30 and add up to 7, right? You're multiplying to a negative, so you need one of each, right? Multiplying to negative 30, adding up to 7. And multiplying to a negative, you need a positive and a negative, all right? So think about a positive number and a negative number. They add up to 7, multiply to negative 30. And that's going to give you, what is it? It's going to be 10 and 3. And the 3's got to be the one that's negative, right? Because 10 minus 3 will give us 7. All right, so from there, we're going to go box. We're going to go top left is your 6n squared, that first term. Bottom right is the last term. And then the other two boxes we fill with the numbers. So we got a 10n and we've got a negative 3n. And now we can go for our greatest common factors, right? So looking up top, or not right here, this first column, I guess on the left, not really the top, we can take out, look at the 6 and the negative 3. The biggest number that goes into both of those is going to be 2. No, it's not. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's going to be 3. And then from n squared and n, we can take out an n. And then our other column, between 10 and 5, we can take out a 5. And then we'll look at our rows. All right, so it's top row. The biggest number that goes into both 6 and 10 is 2, and we can take out an n as well because it's n squared and n. And then down in the bottom, negative 3 and negative 5, not much we can do there. It's just going to be a -1, right? Because 3 and 5, there's no number that goes into them both, but they are both negative. And remember, when they're both negative, it's going to be a negative greatest common factor that comes out. All right, so we got 3n plus 5, 2n minus 1. Okay, these last few, it's very similar, same type of idea. So we've got, oh, actually, this one's a little bit different. So I do want to go through number 10 here. All right, so going through number 10, first of all, let's set up our diamond. Set up the diamond. And up top, we've got B, which is -5, right? That guy in the middle. Down on the bottom, we've got A times C. 6 times 1 is 6. And as always, we want to find two numbers. Multiply to 6, add the -5. We've actually already done this if you watched part 1. I forget which one it was. I think it was one of the first few questions, actually. We already found that -2 and -3 will work for us. All right, so we can go make the box. 6x squared up in the left, right? This guy always is the top left. This guy always makes the bottom right. And then the two numbers we found are the other two boxes. All right. And then column by column, row by row. So we're going to go this column right here. And that's greatest common factor right there we can take out is going to be a 2x, right? Because 2 goes into -2 and 6. And then here, again, there's no number we can take out, so that's just going to be a +1. And then look at our rows. Largest number that we can take out of 6 and 3 is going to be 3. And then for 2 and 1, it is going to be a 1. But wait, we're not done yet. Actually, let me turn around here. There's one extra step that we've got to do. And here's what that step's going to be. Let's look back at the original problem. And we got to notice something that's super important. And that is this. So whenever we've got the C is positive, but the B is negative, it's almost like there's a little glitch in the box method. And we have to, it's going to give you positive signs for your answer. And you have to be aware, change this to negatives. All right, write this down. If C is positive, right, C is positive, but B is negative, the box method is going to give us positive signs in our answer. We need to switch those signs. That is the only time that we have to do this. All right, so switch those signs. That's going to be a -1. That's also going to be a -1. So that's going to be our answer. 2x minus 1, 3x minus 1. All right, super important. I know on the test, this is only like a half-point thing. If it's like a 4-point problem, I'd only take off like a half if you forget to do that. So you'd still get like a 3.5 out of 4. But write that down. That's something it's easy to remember as long as you have it written down. So if C is positive but B is negative, you're going to switch the signs. Only on your final answer. Switch the signs on your final answer. All right. 2 more of these. And then we can go on to page 2, which is a little bit easier, fortunately. All right. So again, we're sticking with our box and diamond method, right? Because we've got a 4 right here. It's a little bit, so it's not the ones. It's not a 1, so it's a little bit trickier. So we have got, we're going to go diamond right here. Up top, we're looking for, we want it to be, my brain's not working. We're going to put B up here, -36. Down at the bottom, it is A times C. 4 times 81. That's 300. Is 324. All right. So this is where we've got to figure out some things. We need to figure out what multiplies to 324. And what multiplies to 324 and adds to -36. All right. So again, in my opinion, this is a little bit excessive because this is going to take some time. So you have to figure out things that add to 324. So here's the strategy for those. You want to start dividing 324 by different numbers until you get two numbers that are going to multiply to 324. So here's what I mean. All right, so first of all, recognize this. The two numbers we're looking for are both negative because they need to multiply to a positive and they need to add to a negative, right? We want to multiply to a positive and we want to add to a negative. All right, so we're going to start looking at our options. So 1 and 324, right? That multiplies to 324. Actually, they both need to be negative. But that doesn't work because those don't add up to negative 36. So if you want to figure out does 2 work, you can do 324 divided by 2 on your calculator. That gives you 162. That also does not add to 36. All right, so let's try some larger numbers maybe. All right, let's try 12. 324 divided by 12. Again, this is something I'm doing this on a calculator. You can do this on a calculator too. And that gives us 27. But again, that does not add to negative 36. We're getting closer. That's negative 39. All right, so when you're getting close, let's try something that's close to 12. Let's try 13. That gives you a decimal. It's 24.9. So don't... Okay, so that one's not going to work. Let's try 14. So 324 divided by 14. That's also a decimal. Not going to work. 15 won't work because it's not divisible by 5 because it does not end in 5 or 0. So let's try 16. 324 divided by 16 is 20.25. That also does not work. If you divide it by 17, you're also going to get a decimal. So the next thing that actually works is going to be 18. And if you notice, 324 divided by 18 is actually 18. And this, in fact, does add up to negative 36. All right, so negative 18 and negative 18, those add to negative 36, and they multiply to negative 324. All right, so now we can move into the box method, finally. All right, your top left is what you started with, 4n squared. The bottom right is going to be C, 81. And then we're going to put the 18s right here, right? Those two numbers we found fill the other spots. And then again, we're just going to go ahead and do greatest common factors all the way down. But again, notice that C is positive, but B is negative. So we're going to need to switch the signs at the very end. It's just like number 10 in that way, right? When C is positive, B is negative, switch the signs at the very end, make them negative. All right, I'm going to speed through this a little bit because we've done this a lot. I don't want to make the videos too long. So this is going to give you a 2n. That is going to give you, what does that give you? It gives you a negative 9, right? Because we got to switch the sign. And then it's also going to be the same thing here, a 2n and a negative 9. So those are going to be your factors, 2n minus 9 and 2n minus 9. And that is your answer. All right, number 12, similar in the sense that it's a little excessive. There's a lot going on, and the multiplication step takes a little bit of work. All right, so we're going to get our diamond. Up top, you've got negative 37. Down at the bottom is negative 360. Okay, so we're going to look for numbers. We want to add to negative 37. We want to multiply to negative 360. All right, so adding to negative 37, multiplying to negative 360. All right, so again, you can use the calculator strategy. Start dividing 360 by numbers until you get two numbers that combine and give you negative 37. Realize that one of them needs to be positive and one needs to be negative, because that's the only way that you can multiply to a negative. All right, so doing a similar strategy, just start dividing 360 by different numbers until you find something that works. That's the only way to do this unless you're super quick at mental multiplication, and it's why I personally think these problems should be kept simpler. But you will notice 8 and 45 work, and you want the 45 to be negative because we want them to add to a negative. All right, so it's box method right here. Top left is going to be 9n squared. Bottom right is going to be negative 40, right? Top left is always the first term. Bottom right is always c. And then those two numbers we just found will fill the rest. So we got negative 45n and negative 45n. And again, column by column, row by row, greatest common factor. We've done this a bunch. I'll speed through this a little bit. It's going to be a 3n. That's going to be, what is that going to give us? It's going to give us a negative 5. And then down here, that's also going to give us a 3n. Oh, wait, no, it's not. Nope. Oh, wait. Something came out wrong here. What's going on? Oh, what came out wrong is I don't know why I wrote 45 twice. All right, because one of these should be an 8. Yeah, I wrote our numbers wrong. We had an 8 and a 45. All right, so let's put our 8 right there. Let's take this a step back. Okay, I was like looking at this and I was like, no, this isn't right. Okay, 45 and 8. So hopefully when you were watching that, you're like, why did you write 45 twice? It was because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Okay, so right here, greatest common factor from 9 and 8 is going to be 1. N squared and n gives us an n. And then 45 and 40, that will give us the negative 5. And then 9n and negative 45 on this top row now, we can take out a 9n. And then down on the bottom, we can take out an 8. All right, there we go. So we got n minus 5 or 1n minus 5 times 9n plus 8. All right, there we go. There's your factors. I'm going to make a part 3 for the backside. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. Backside's pretty quick. Please let me know if you have questions. But as far as when you're doing these problems here, it's the same thing. It's just factoring. And notice that this first number is a 1. So you're just looking to multiply to negative 28, add the negative 3. Right, so those numbers are going to be, what's it going to be? Negative 7, positive 4. So you're going to be factors are x minus 7, x plus 4, right? That's it. That's all you've got to answer for the first one. In the second one, you're going to multiply them each by 2 and add them together. X minus 7 times 2, x plus 4 times 2. All right, and then distribute the 2. It'll be 2x minus 14. And then distribute the 2 over here. 2x minus 8. And then combine our like terms. 2x and 2x makes 4x. 14, negative 14. And negative 8 makes negative 22. And that is your answer for perimeter. All right. Same thing for the last one. Again, we're going to multiply to 16. Add the negative 8. It's negative 4 and negative 4. All right, so we can do the same thing for perimeter. You can multiply each one of them by 2, and then go ahead and add them together. So we'll distribute the 2. That gives us 2x minus 8 plus 2x minus 8. And then combine like terms. 2x and 2x makes 4x. Negative 8 minus 8, negative 16 units. All right. Please let me know if you have any questions. All right, and if there's anything I can help, anything else I can do to help you study, let me know.